What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about 5 tips for a better press release. So we're going to be talking about 5 specific key things that you guys need to be focusing on when you're facing a DB who's maybe in this soft press look, catch technique, and a physical DB who's going to jam you right off the line and get hands on you. So I hope this video gives you guys some value, but also, fellas, if you guys want to take your game to that next level, you want to take your route running to that next level, check out that very first link in the description where we show our route running Bible. So what that is it's over an hour and a half's worth of content on specific route running drills in our How to Improve Your Route Running in 10 Days training program. It's a 10-day step-by-step program with specific drills to improve all aspects of your route running, broken down into a plan with sets and reps. And then we give you a 49-minute long video on 20 press releases, when to use those releases, and drills to work on each one of those releases. So hope we get you guys on that soon. It's over an hour and a half's worth of content at a buy one, get one free value. So hope we get you guys on that soon. Let's get started. So first thing I want to talk about here is how on any release, you guys got to commit to the release because that's what's going to make this DB jump. So we're looking at this. They call this a dive release right here. This is Chase Claypool at the Senior Bowl a while ago. So this DB is a little bit outside shade, right? So what are we trying to threaten him? He does not, obviously this is a situation, this is one-on-ones, but if he's outside shade, usually what that means is he's got help to the inside. So he doesn't want us to get to the outside. He's got some help. He got maybe some safety help, linebacker help, whatever it is, but he has help to the inside. So he's trying to force us there. So we got to make him believe that I'm going to go there for him to actually even move off of this platform, right? So because I have a 5-yard out, if I just try to go run up into this out route, I'm going to run right up into him, right? So when I come off, he gets a little hesitation. You see how Claypool, he's fully committed to this break. He's got speed to the dive portion of this release. His shoulders and his hips are committed. So anytime you guys are working a release, anytime, whether it's a wide step, double up, diamond release, this dive release, whatever it is, you guys got to commit to the release. You actually got to run down this lane. You actually got to have speed with your lower half, and you got to sell with your body language. That's the only way to get this DB to move. If you guys don't sell it, what a lot of guys will do on a dive release, they'll go here and they'll take these 3 steps. They'll go right, left, right, but this shoulder and this hip will be drifting back in the direction that they want to go. And then I'm not going to sell with this DB. That DB is going to be watching my hips. He's going to stay disciplined. So I got to make sure I commit my hips, commit my shoulders, actually have speed. And then that forces that sudden change of direction where I can work my hand technique. I get him to run by, and then I could get back up to the portion of this route. So the first tip for a better press release is going to be commit your hips and commit your shoulders to that break. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. So great job bursting to the inside, swatting him by, and then accelerating back up into this route. Okay, so now the second tip we're going to be talking about here is the suddenness of your cuts. We kind of talked about it a little bit, and that ties into the first tip, which is committing to the break, right? So let's watch this route. This is from Elijah Moore. This is a couple years ago before he even declared for the draft. So he's coming off here working this diamond release, and you see how fast he's able to get out of this route, right? So that's the key that we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about this break point right here. So we talked about it earlier. You want to commit your hips and commit your shoulders to the break, right? Now you hear people talk about it a lot. Oh, like you want to have sudden breaks. Your breaks want to be explosive. They want to be quick. They want to be quick twitch. But how do you actually get to that point? It's a lot of what I was talking about, because when you actually fully commit and sell this route, right, that's going to get this DB to turn. But so what? I got the DB to turn. The DB works these situations just like how we work situations. So if I get him to be here and I pop this thing off and I make that cut, this is a diamond release. It's 3 steps on a 45-degree angle to get this DB to think fade, and we slip back underneath and run a fade. Run a slant, excuse me. So the only way I'm able to change direction off of this, going full speed and actually selling the route, is by being sudden with my cuts. That's the only way I'm able to do it, because if you're soft with this cut right here, what's going to happen is you're going to drift. He'll break off of this 3rd step, and then that 2nd step will drift right there. Then the 3rd step will trail behind, and you have this like chatter at the top of the break, which all that does is give this DB more time to react. He's hoping that we take extra time at the top of the break so he can recover, and he has enough time to ultimately recover. But if I am quick out of my breaks and my breaks are sudden and I'm focused on getting on, they call this like a windshield wiper right here, where you open up your inside hip. If I'm focused on getting on that windshield wiper and opening up right away, and I'm actually driving off of this cut, that's how I eliminate time spent. So anytime you guys are working any kind of cone cutting drill where you're maybe zigzagging through, you're doing like an L drill where you go out, then up, then back out again, whatever it may be, but anytime you're working any kind of cut drill, stick drill, whatever it is, you got to focus on when you make that cut, you want it to be as sudden as possible, commit to it, but actually drive off of that cut and push off of that cut leg so you can open up your hips and you eliminate time spent at the top of this break. So that's the second tip if you want a better press release. Those feet have to be sudden, because that's the only way you decelerate going full speed after you committed to it. And now you want to make sure that you push off of that break to eliminate the extra steps at the top of this thing so the DB does not have time to recover, and I can ultimately win the race back to the ball. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job pushing to the diamond, getting this thing and getting out of this route quickly by Elijah Moore. Okay, so now next route here is when we got a physical DB who's going to just jump and just choke us right off the line. Okay, you just get hands, try to force us back. The main thing I want to talk to you about, the third tip for a better press release, is going to be pad level. So a lot of guys struggle with this, especially when they got a physical guy, and a lot of it's a mindset thing, right? And you don't see a whole hell of a lot of this. You see physical guys, but you don't see guys who just lunge at you right away, besides one-on-ones at 7-on-7, because in one-on-one, 7-on-7, quarterback ain't going on 2, right? He's not going to give a hard count. In one-on-ones, you're never going to give a hard count, but in a real game, you go on 2, and this guy lunges at you and gets hands, and he's got the jump on you. Shit, we're going to move this thing up 5 yards, and then we're going to move on to the next play, and he ain't ever going to do that again, right? So you don't see this as realistic. You don't see this type of thing that often in 11-on-11, like actual padded football, real football. But again, sometimes you'll get a physical guy who's going to get hands on you. You guys got to understand what works. So let's watch the thing full speed. So this receiver does such a great job of never giving up on the play and continuing to push vertical and continuing to fight and actually get up into this route. And you see, ultimately, he's able to make this play downfield. And that's what we got to be able to do. So when this DB lunges at me and he tries to get right up in my grill, right up on my pad level, whatever, knock me back, and I keep a good pad level forward, it's very hard for him to knock me back. Right? If you keep a good pad level and you know where you're going to be going, you know where you want to set him up. I want to set him up outside, break back to the inside. I want to set him up inside, break back to the outside. Or I just have good hand technique, because when you look at him right here, when he's lunging at you, look at how off balance he is. His base is extended. His legs are trailing behind him, and he's lunging up. I just got to keep a good pad level. Let's swat him by, and let's continue to push up vertical into this route. We can't quit on this route. We got to always make sure we're violent with our hands, we're aggressive with our hands, but most importantly, I keep a good pad level going forward to get this DB off that line. That's a great example here of what you guys need to do when this DB's lunging at you, trying to jam you off this line and disrupt timing. His whole goal is to disrupt timing with the quarterback. So I can't be doing all these fancy things. I got to make sure that I keep a good pad level. I'm ready to fight those hands. Now, let's say this happens and you're a smaller guy, right? So many guys, I get this question asked a lot. Well, what if the DB's bigger than me? What if he's stronger than me? This is not going to be your game, what we just saw right here. Your game is not going to be, oh, let's sit there and hand fight with this guy. If you're a boxer and you're going to fight, like let's say, for example, you're a jiu-jitsu fighter and you're going up and you face a boxer in a street fight, you're going to take him down, right? You're not going to sit there and try to box him. So if you're a short guy and there's a bigger dude who's physical, your game is not going to be hand fighting. You're going to use your quickness. So maybe something like when he lunges at you, I don't know about in this situation if I like a step back release, maybe like kind of like a slide release or like a split release where you could like dip underneath and shoulder reduce. You just got to have a plan, right? You got to have a plan. You got to study film on the guys you're going to be going up against every single snap and structure that plan to where, okay, if he's going to come at me with this, I got a plan. I'm going to go with this. I know in this situation, he likes to get real physical. That's fine. I got something planned for that. I know he likes to press bail in certain situations. Cool. I got a plan for that. You always got to have a plan, especially being a shorter guy. You got to beat him with quickness and the IQ of this thing. Let's watch it full speed again one more time. Great job keeping a good pad level when it's an even match, or maybe you're bigger than that DB. Good pad level, and let's constantly push to move forward. All right, guys. So now the next clip we're going to be talking about is stepping and threatening a DB to where his leverage is, right? So now this is a case here. This is like kind of a scramble drill situation. It's like a curl route turned to a scramble drill. Not going to focus too much on that, but we are going to focus on the inside release and how not to force any release, right? So you see how Jeudy gives this wide step release, takes the inside, and then he's just able to snap this thing off right now. And you see the separation he's able to get because of that sudden snap, right? But now, here's the deal. DB is outside shade, right? So this could be maybe like it's cover 2, whatever it is. We don't know because we can't see the full play. However, when a DB is outside shade, let's say, for example, you got to run a fade. Do not force this, right? That's one of the main keys. You just got to take what he gives you. You got to threaten him to where he doesn't want you to go to get him to maybe a little hesitate a little bit. And that's why Jeudy goes with this wide step, right? He just doesn't take off to the inside of the field, let this guy get hands and force him to the inside and screw up the spacing of the route. We got to give something to where we freeze him to the outside. This is pretty much a free release he's giving us because he's outside shade. But same thing if he's inside shade. If he's way inside shade, I don't want to give him a move to the outside and try to force the inside release and then get completely walled off this thing. Same thing with the outside release. If I try to force an outside release here, he's going to get hands and force him to the sideline. We got to understand why a DB's in a certain leverage. He's in a certain leverage because he's trying to prevent me from getting to that spot. He's got help to the middle of the field, so that's where he wants me to go because that's a much easier play for this defense. So we got to understand that where I want to step and where I want to threaten is where this DB doesn't want me to go. I threaten him to that direction. Take what he gives me. Take the inside release. Anybody that ever tells you on an inside breaking route, you must take an inside release. On an outside breaking route, you must take an outside release is false. false. They're lying to you. That's not true. You see all the best guys in the world do the opposite because you can't force a certain release, right? We were always told, especially when I was at a high school program, they always would tell us, hey, they must take an outside release on a comeback, right? And a comeback might be one of the only ones where I kind of agree that an inside release is very tough. But if he's taking away the outside like this and you force the comeback and you're running to the sideline, that doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do the quarterback any good. I'd rather take my chance with an inside release, swat him by, actually sell vertical, and then maybe be able to get out of this route, then force an outside release and get pushed into the sideline. You know what I mean? So it's all about understanding a DB's leverage. That's the fourth tip to make sure that you have a better press release. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Judy understanding the principle. Take the inside release and you see what happens when you're able to sell vertical. Your stem and your break point get you open. The press release just keeps that timing with the quarterback, okay? So now we're going to be talking a little bit about leverage again for this last tip. So this is going to be more of like an off-man situation, inside shade on the goal line, right? So now an inside shade, what does he not want to give up? Does not want to give up the inside, but how do we get to the inside, right? So there's a couple different ways that we got to do, things that we got to do. Where do you think you want to threaten him? You want to threaten him to the outside because look at all this space we got him, right? So outside, he doesn't want me to go, or he wants me to go, or I want to go here to the inside, so I got to threaten him to the outside, right? But I got to force him to try to commit to the outside release because if I just try to attack his leverage and then just go and I don't give him a move to the outside, he ain't going to do much, right? So this receiver does a great job of squaring this DB up, making that move to the outside to make him think that he's running to the out, and then break back up to the slant. So that's the key here, right? Everybody loves to talk about just attacking leverage, and if you were to just attack his leverage and then run, he'd be all over this thing. So like I said, you got to threaten him here. But now, this is a little bit unique, right? Because if this was the middle of the field and we stem this DB, he's going to keep his leverage to the inside. He's going to do that thing like that weave, kind of like back pedal where he keeps the inside leverage hard. Now, since we're on the goal line here, or like 5-yard line, he's taught not to back up. He ain't going to back up in the goal line. So I know if I square him up, I'm going to get his feet to stop because he's taught not to back up into the goal line because I could just turn around, catch the ball, easy 6 points, right? So he's taught to hold his ground. So when I square him up, I know I got to keep this good range. So again, the last tip is that you got to have a football IQ to be able to get that separation consistently off the line. You got to know every single thing a DB is going to do, every single thing a DB is going to throw at you in a specific game to create some separation, right? And if I get this look, I know specifically that I'm going to be okay. I got to run a slant route or 5-yard in. I know I could square him up. I threaten him to the outside where there's a ton of space. I actually sell with my hips and my shoulders. There's a ton of space out here that might get him a little over anxious because what does he not want to get beat on? Doesn't want to get beat on the fade. So if he gives up all that grass, he's going to be a little over anxious to get back to the outside. And then bam, I create some separation and now I am wide open. That's a great job here. Fifth tip on a press release, you got to understand. Fifth tip for a better press release, you got to understand the IQ. You got to understand the IQ of the wide receiver position. You got to understand what a DB is going to do in any given situation. Let's watch the thing full speed. So square him up, threaten him to the outside, then burst up to the inside and run this slant. Great route. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And again, fellas, over an hour and a half of premium route running training content. It's 10 days of specific drill program. So it's all the drills you need to do to improve your route running, broken down to a specific schedule, and then 20 different press releases to improve all your game off the line of scrimmage, specific drills to work each one, and the situations to use each one. That's like that IQ that we were talking about earlier. Very first link in the description, fellas. I'll see you guys next time.